Hello and welcome to 5 tips for using subtitles for language learning. Are you ready? Tip number 1. The easiest place to start with this is to listen to stuff in your native language but use subtitles in the language that you're learning. That way you're just beginning to get familiar with how those words look and where they pair up with stuff that you already know. Tip number 2. As you begin to advance with this and you want to listen to more of the language, then you can flip this around completely. So you can have the audio in the language you're learning with English or native language subtitles. This is known as interlingual subtitles and is really useful for vocabulary retention. Tip number 3. When you're feeling really brave, go all in. Audio and subtitles both in the language that you're learning. This is known as intralingual and it's great because it not only improves your listening but also your comprehension at the same time. Tip number 4. Maybe you've learned multiple languages in the past and you want to bring some of that back right now. Well, you can with subtitles. So you can listen to something in one language and read subtitles in another, neither of which is your native language. You ready? I know you are. Tip number 5. Now, most of what we've mentioned so far is pretty passive. It's a very passive way to bring subtitles into your language learning. But tip number 5 is to get really active with that and make something that is normally a passive activity very active part of your language learning. So, a few ideas. Watch with a notepad. It doesn't have to be anything complex, but just jot down words that either you understand or you don't understand, or words you see on the subtitles that you want to look up for later. Whichever way you do this, bringing an extra outside source from the TV is going to add another dimension to this and you'll be taking things further. Remember, don't be afraid to re-watch stuff. If you have to watch a 10-second clip 15 times to fully understand what's going on, that's fine, nobody cares. It's all good. And then if you're using subtitles and watching stuff to get some new vocabulary, take that vocabulary, put it into Anki or Memrise or whatever you're using for your vocab and learn it. And then put it into sentences, into context, boom, new word in the brain. Thanks, subtitles. And finally, don't panic if you don't understand everything. The point of using or not using subtitles when you're learning a language is just to give you another dimension beyond your regular textbook and course materials. You want to enjoy this. This should be something that you enjoy when it comes to language learning. So don't make it an ordeal. You can do all of those extra things, you can make it a much more active task, but if that's boring for you, if you don't enjoy it, then don't do it. It's all good. So, to recap, tip number 1, English audio with subtitles in the language you're learning. Tip number 2, subtitles in English and audio in the language you're learning. Tip number 3, audio and subtitles both in the language you're learning. Tip number 4, audio and subtitles both not in your native languages, but both languages that you're learning. And finally, tip number 5, make it a really active task, not just passive. Notebooks, learning vocab, rewatching clips, whatever it takes, get active with your subtitling. There we go. 5 tips for using subtitles to learn a language. What's your favourite idea? And how do you use subtitles for learning languages? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, remember to subscribe for regular language learning videos. I will see you very soon. Thank you. Bye.